Hi everybody, it's Jeff from VW Bricks here again, doing another video this morning for my brownstone buildings. This is the second in the series. Took me a few minutes to figure out what order I built them in, but I did end up figuring it out. So this next one is the one that's right above my head. I just did this one a few minutes ago, which will be probably a few days ago if I release these videos a few days apart. And this is like I said, the second brownstone that I've built. Now, we're just going to jump right into an image. I don't have a lot of construction images for some of these, I was noticing, but I do have some inspiration that I was using for these builds. So let's just jump into an inspiration shot. So this one is, to me, a very classic type of brownstone, very fancy looking one as well, with a lot of detail around. Oh my gosh, sorry. A lot of detail around the windows that you can see around these windows here. And the detail carries up to the further levels as well. Now, I think I have a second shot of this one. Let's just click here. I do, which just kind of gives you a side shot. This is from a real estate site, I think. That's why I was able to get an interior shot as well. So this one's obviously been well kept. And is selling for the low price of, no, not doing that. Anyway, so I tried to, as I was doing my build for this one, I kept with the, black windows idea, the designs around the window, the top of the windows, and I ended up using a dark tan because it's not quite a tannish color, but it looked good to me at the time, so that's why I chose it. So why don't we jump right into the actual, we can go to the build photos. So here you can see kind of a top-down view of the build process. This was done on the 16th of June, so about 10 days after the first one was started. And I noticed on the first one, actually let me just see if I can go back for a second here. As I was building it, this is June 6th, so I did start this one before June 16th. But if you can see it, right there is the column that's the start for the next one. And as I was looking through these photos, this is where I figured it out. On June 6th, I already had started this building on the side here. I just hadn't actually taken photos of it because I was working on this one at the time. So anyways, so yeah, there's the other column on that side. So it kind of gives me a reference point as to how these, oh my gosh, working at 3 a.m. in the morning is not a great idea. Anyways, it gives me a reference point of how these at least these two buildings line up together. Originally on my wall, I actually had them in the wrong order, so I fixed that now. But anyway, so like I said, I got the window style on around the windows here. Got a little bit of a detail kind of underneath these lower windows. The original image was, 5 windows across, so it's a very narrow building. I didn't really have the narrow windows in black. So I guess I decided to go with, whoops, sorry about that. I guess I decided to go with the 4 wide windows instead. So let's go to the next page, which is actually backwards. So here you can see the two buildings side by side. You can see how the pillars line up nicely. I've already got the second story on here. And the roof. So as I was looking at these pictures after I did the last video, I said that the roof had been modified up here to be taller, and I realized afterwards because brownstones tend to be all the same height down the street, and this building was just definitely too low, so I ended up adding on some more structure above just to kind of make it all line up nicely. So and here's the last shot all decorated. You can't really see the detail in the arches. Hopefully we'll get that in the live shot a bit. Again, 32 stud base plate. This is an older base plate as well. It's one of the old curved ones from with the way back times of the early 70s or late 70s, I guess. No, yeah, late 70s. So yeah, why don't we jump into the live shot because that's the last photo I have for this one. I do have, like I said, I do have a last photo. Which is more of the whole street, but I don't want to show that just yet. Okay, so we'll jump over to the build cam, and I'll reposition myself. and just checking something. Okay. So here we can see, I mean, this one isn't as, the structural details around here might detract a little bit from the building, but I wanted to give it some kind of a look and feel that kind of matched the original. Wow, man, I'm tired today. Anyway, so I kept that design along the front windows here, just by using these bar pieces, and they're coming out a half stud difference between, so I can get a bit of an angled shot. I'll give you a side view as well, so you can kind of see the construction that's being used here. So I'm using these. I'm using a lot of jumpers in here to offset this by half stud, filling in the details with these grill or rail pieces, door rail pieces, to kind of give it the effect. And then to fill in the back, I'm also using that door rail to kind of fill it in a bit. So from the side, or if you're looking at this from the side, it doesn't look as pretty, but that's usually covered up by the building next to it. But from the front, I mean, this look, and as well as these columns here, to me, give it a nice effect from the front and kind of give it that sculpted look as the previous one. So again, this is 3 levels. Just going to slide this back a little bit further. This is 3 levels. So the roof is just a simple put-on roof. There's nothing really actually attaching the roof on here. The second story comes off, but you'll notice that there's a bit of a gap missing, and that's just for the lower structure to keep it all together. There's not much to this. The walls are a little thicker just because the windows are recessed. So I built the walls up a little bit more inside on both sides, and also just to kind of lock stuff in. And I'm using old printed tiles. I don't know if that's going to come through, but I'm using old printed tiles on the top of this window, because why use regular tiles when you can use printed tiles that you don't really use anymore, old space tiles. And then the main floor and the basement, again, are one level. Pull this tree off for a minute. Again, I have a bit of a doorway down with a fence, and I just realized that there's not a plate in there, so you can see the old style base plate, which is underneath curved tops. So this one was a printed base plate that had a pattern on it for putting in the first bricks. So I might throw a tile in there just to cover that up, because like I said, just realized it. Using a similar railing technique that I had in the previous videos, with just the cheese slopes and stuff. And like I said, a little bit of window detail kind of over here above the window, just to kind of give it a bit of a different look. And like I said, the structure up atop here is just to keep it all together, because there's a lot of work in here, so I had to thicken this up a bit to make everything look good, or to make everything sturdy as well. So that's why the second floor is missing that chunk. I think that's about it for this one. I'm doing a lot of ums today. Again, tired, waiting for my next task to start, which is probably in a few minutes, so I'm going to take a break from making videos and such. Oh, and like I said, the roof structure here, let's move this back. So the roof here, kind of hard to see, but I've continued that same, let's see if we can get an angle here. I've continued that same curvy piece in here in the black. It's really hard to make it, and with some arches in between, just to give it some more detail. And those line up. They don't line up completely with the windows. They're kind of on the inside of the windows, but all in all together, I think it makes the building look pretty nice. So that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.